Well, it's Wednesday, and you all know what that means. As you know, AEW Dynamite, we have lots of things we're definitely going to be going through. We're going to be seeing once again the rivalry that rekindled between Orange Cassidy and Chris Jericho. Women's tag team match, we have Yuka Sakazaki teaming up with the Queen herself, Queen Aminata, to take on Serena Deeb and Mariah May, and plenty other matches as well. But first things first, if you are a big fans of the Joshi Wrestling scene, well, you're in luck. You guys are in the right channel. So we're going to be reviewing 3 events from 2 promotions from that. The first 2 are in fact are from SEAdLINNG from different times. The first one is of course the 9th anniversary that took place back on August 23rd, which is a month ago. This one features of course Arisa Nakajima's retirement event. So basically, that will be the last time we see her, and then of course they SEAdLINNG with the Shinkiba Series, something we're definitely going to be reviewing as well. And then finally, we have Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling for the Arisu Endo's triumphant return. Now, this is not like a retirement thing. This is where, of course, certain Japanese wrestlers return to the homes, and of course, they are the main character in that particular town. So we'll get to that as well. And then, of course, we cap up our episode with some news updates to give you guys updates what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, I can put it either on the next episode or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also got the Unagi Sayaka watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions are set aside. It's time to hit the highway. So, let's begin with our very first review, and this is from the Joshi promotion SEAdLINNG. Okay, SEAdLINNG. This is of course, the 9th anniversary slash Arisa Nakajima retirement. So basically, Arisa Nakajima announced that she was retiring this year due to some injury that she obtained not too long ago, but uh, this was her final appearance. So bear with me until then. Until now, this recently took place last month in August. Now I know some of you are thinking, J-Rod, we're in September. Why did you wait this long? Well, I was intending to do it at another timing with either the special episode or something, but I decided, what the hell, let's just do it. Now, our first match, this one is a very fun match. We have this one is a high-speed six-woman tag team match. We have Caradida, La Pedida, and Natsupida. So these are masked wrestlers. You may know they're underneath. La Pedida is portrayed by none other than Kao Kobayashi. Uh, Kakedida is Kageru Sekiguchi, and Natsupida is, of course, Surumi Natsu. So their opponents are none other than Yuki Takase, Maya Yukihi, and Rina Yamashita. So there were some fun moments in this match. I mean, they possibly thought, okay, these masked women were going to be a pain in the butt, but they were able to overcome it thanks to, of course, Natsupida with a very unique pinfall onto Yamashita, allowing to win the match. I thought it was real fun. I enjoyed it. Now, our next match, this is a very interesting one. We have, of course, the rookie um, Mirai Koga, and of course, the the main character Arisa Nakajima. They face against Mima Shimoda and Yumiko Hota. So I thought this was a very interesting kind of dynamic because, of course, Koga, she is relatively been in the promotion for quite some time now. I think she just started wrestling this year. I don't know if Nakajima is kind of been, how do I say, helping out in her training, but she's facing against two veterans. So I thought it was a very interesting thing too for her. But however, there was a moment we did see um, Shimoda use a chair, but things got a little differently until, of course, what, uh, until of course, Hota applied a somewhat of a sit-down power bomb on Koga, and just like that, it was over. And then Hota did a promo talking to Nakajima. I don't know what they said. They don't have an English commentator, in case anybody asks. But yes. Now our third match, we have a tag team match. We have Misa Kaguta versus Unagi taking on Veni and Serene. Now, Unagi and Misa have been teaming up on various occasions. They have become real tight. At first, they didn't like each other, but Misa confided in her on many occasions. But of course, Unagi, her biggest challenge is Suri. Now, Suri said some harsh words towards her over time about how her wrestling style, but not to mention of that match not too long ago, where of course Suri and Unagi teamed up to take on Kuri and Sayuri Anu. So that kind of puts it out there. But however, in this match, it was Suri who picked up the win with a pinfall. But as soon as the match was over and we jumped into the post match, Suri initially, how do I say this, saying that she would put the Beyond the Sea Championship on the line against Unagi. So this is going to be interesting. Of course, Suri is one of the most well-recognized wrestlers, but Unagi is a very unorthodox wrestler for those who's ever seen her. But yes, so we will see that taking place. Now, our next match, this is the only championship match that they have. This is for the Beyond the Sea tag team titles. We have the challengers all the way from 2AW. Ayame Sazamura. Her tag partner is Isuki Aoki. They take on the champions Nagisa Nozaki and Makoto. So I thought this match was pretty fun and very intense because, of course, I haven't been watching that much with SEAdLINNG that very often, but however, Nozaki and Makoto have proven they are the most, because they're part of a somewhat of a faction with Yuhiki and Veni, and I forgot who else. But that led to, of course, to this. But it was Sazamura who picked up the win when she applied a tiger suplex onto Makoto, and just like that, it was over and brand new tag champion. So we have, of course, Aoki and Sazamura as our new tag champions, and this is her. And I think Sazamura is a two-time Beyond the Sea tag team champions. Um, her tag partner she was in with last time was Riko Kaiju, and she's currently been out on injury, but don't know when she'll be back. Now, our main event, we have Hanako Nakamura and Lady Destroyer Hiroyo Matsumoto taking on Best Friends. No, not the AEW Best Friends. Tsukasa Fujimoto, and of course, the main character herself, Arisa Nakajima. So you know this match was going to be hard hitting, intensified, which it kind of did. So many of you probably thought in your heads, okay, since this is Nakajima's last final match, she in no doubt would win this match. I mean, I would have thought the same thing too, but it wasn't. It was, of course, Matsumoto with the Uranagi that allowed her to pick up the win on Nakajima, and just like that, 1, 2, 3. And then, of course, the ceremony of the send off for Nakajima. We saw many wrestlers gave her flowers. There was a moment with her and Unagi. They slapped each other and all that in the face and gave themselves a big hug. So there was a lot of things of that. And not to mention Fujimoto, who's been very close with her. You know, saddened to see her friend retire, but, you know, all things come to an end. And, of course, she got her send-off ceremony, which was very beautiful. You know, I enjoy watching how they do the retirements in Japan, but it's a lot of fun. So I think that's pretty much it for this one for SEAdLINNG. So let's move on to the other one, and I think that was the Shinkiba series. Okay, as we continue with more of SEAdLINNG with now the Shinkiba series, this is volume 5. This took place recently on September 10th in Shinkiba. Um, we only had 4 matches, unlike what we did with the previous review with SEAdLINNG. Our first match, we had an 8-woman tag match. We have Veni, Maya Yukihi, Nagisa Nozaki, and Makoto. They take on Lapidida, and of course our newly Beyond the Sea tag team champions, Itsuki Aoki and Ayame Sazamura. So nothing has changed on this one as anything. But however, you can tell the intensity that someone is intending to hopefully take a pinfall on, of course, our tag champions. But however, in this case, it was Veni who picked up the victory on uh, Kagedira when she applied a moonsault. But during the post match, she was attempting to take off her mask. But of course, her team tried to stop her, so all things kind of went out of hand. So we ended right there. Now, our next match, this was a very interesting one. We had our only male match. We have Sugi versus Ikuto Hidaka. Now, Sugi, I remembered him for many years. He used to be part of a faction back in AAA with Kenzo Suzuki and a guy named Oriental. They were known as La Yakuzas. So basically, yeah, Sugi's a very fantastic wrestler. He's an amazing junior heavyweight competitor. Love his mask. I love his style. And of course, Hidaka, I've seen him before. He was one of the members from back then when he was rolling around with Nosawa Rangai for the Los Perros del Val de Japón. But nothing too much on this one. But, however, this one ended with Hidaka applying a Magistral on Sugi, allowing him to pick up the win. Now, our next match, we have Misa Kagura taking on Miku Kane. Now, those who remember, Miku Kane is the latest member of the T Hearts brand that recently, as you know, she was originally from Actwres Girls, and now she jumped in with T Hearts. Now she's been appearing in other promotions outside of what she normally does. The match was pretty good, not to mention, but it was, of course, Misa Kagura who picked up the win when she applied a senton. So that pretty much says it all right there. Now, our main event, we have Hanako Nakamura and Hiroyi Matsumoto taking on Mirai Koga and our current Beyond the Sea champion, Suri. So, of course, the initial assumption you would think, okay, Suri is the champion of SEAdLINNG, she most likely be target. But however, the easy target would have been Koga due to the fact that she is relatively still new uh, basically a rookie, she was the most likely that could be ended up taking the eating the pinfalls, which ironically it did. So basically, it was Hiro Matsumoto with a Boston Crab, allowing her to tap out, and just like that, that's how we picked up the win. Now, I don't know what they said in the post match promo. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised that if Matsumoto would target Suri for the Beyond the Sea Championship, but right now she's mostly focused on her upcoming title match with Unagi. So we'll get to that at some point, but that's not going to be today. So we'll see where that leads us from here on out. But for now, we'll just end things here with SEAdLINNG and move on with Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. Okay, Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. This is the Arisu Endo triumphant return. This is the much recent event that took place on the 14th of September. Now, this is not one of your typical, like, oh, retirement type events. No, this is where, of course, the wrestlers return to the home towns where they're originally from. I've seen that many times on with various wrestlers. Like, if you guys ever go to Kyoto in Japan, there's only two women are from there, from Stardom, Hanako and, of course, Miyu Amasaki. That sort of thing. So basically, that's what you've been normally seeing. Hold on, let me pull up the one for Arisu Endo. I know I saw it somewhere. Yes, yeah, she's originally from Fukushima. So basically, that's her hometown. That's where they did. Of course, she comes out to greet her fans, people who come to see her. I'm pretty sure her family are there watching. But yeah. So anyway, let's start talk with our very first match. We have uh, Uda Takami versus Toga. So this one, of course, you probably figure, okay, we got a smaller person versus a bigger person, with David versus Goliath, a female version. But um, the factors of this match, you would think, okay, Toga's a big person, yes. But another factor you need to play out is, of course, is Takami, who is in fact has least experience. Not by that much by Toga. Toga has already have a bit of enough experience in the wrestling ring, much than Takami. But Toga picked up the win with, I'm not sure if it was a sidewalk slam, and just like that, it was over. Next up, we have Chika Manaze taking on Pam Harajuku. Yeah, Pam, she is, she's a bit more eccentric. She has a different type of personality, not to mention she likes to scream her lungs out whenever get a chance. But of course, it was Pam who walked out as the victor when she applied the Pam did justice, and boom, just like that, she won her match. Next up, we have tag team action. We have Runa Okubo teaming up with Yoshiko Hasegawa. They take on Shino Suzuki and Yuki Aino. So I thought that this match, okay, very interesting. Those who know, Yoshiko, she's originally from Gambari and then later went freelancing, and now she is becoming a regular with Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. Uh, Not much I have seen her since. I haven't been keeping up with the Gambari stuff. I have seen her done freelancing, but in the end, she picked up a good win when she applied the stretch muffler. Think of the move that, of course, Despy and, of course, Starlight applied. Where you pull the leg in the back. Hasegawa was doing that with Suzuki, and of course, Suzuki had no choice but to tap. Next up, we got singles action. We have Wakana Uehara versus Makoto Miyamoto. Now, Miyamoto, as you all know, recently has issued a challenge for the International Princess Championship. So, basically, she is building up the momentum for that. And I feel that's what this match she needed. Now, we hardly see, of course, Yuki Arai appearing in some of the smaller shows or shows like these. She normally will be around for the bigger shows or more important ones. But for this one, Moka Miyamoto picked up a good win. I'm not sure what she applied, but it was more like a twisty suplex or something, But it was effective. It did allow her to pick up the win. Next up, we have Haru Kazushiro teaming up with Mizuki, taking on Imawari and Miyu Watanabe. Now, of course, Miyu Watanabe, the current Princess of Princess champion, you know that she will be a target by Mizuki. Mizuki will love nothing more to pin her, maybe for a shot of the Princess title in the future. But however, they had the contempt. But it was, of course, Miyu Watanabe with her submission move onto Kazushiro, picking up the win by submission. Next up, we have the apologetic Mahiro Kiru and Rika Tatsumi taking on, of course, she loves trains, Raku, and of course, the legend herself, Aja Kong. Now, it's not the first time that Raku and Aja Kong team up. I mean, they like teaming up with each other. Not to mention, of course, Raku likes to take a little ride with her when Kong likes to pancake people. But that didn't do well. That kind of happened, but in a way, it was Aja Kong with a elbow drop onto Kiru. Just like that, it was done. Now, our main event, we have Daisy Monkey, featuring, of course, the hometown girl Arisu Endo and her lovable tag partner Suzumi taking on Kaya Toribami and Miyu Yamashita. Now, remember, Miyu Yamashita is a former tag champion. She did not have those tag team belts way longer, but however, I'm sure that's on her mind to win those tag belts. But Kaya Toribami, I wouldn't say she was the strong partner, but I have to say she would be reliable at times. But but for that, it was of course Arisu Endo who picked up the win when she pinned Kaya Toribami, and just like that, it was over. Now I wouldn't be surprised if Miyu Yamashita would definitely want to have a shot at the tag belts, but we'll see what happens down the road. But for now, we'll end things with Tokyo Pro Wrestling and move on with our last and final review, AEW Dynamite. Okay, AEW Dynamite. It opened up with, of course, the rekindled rivalry between both Orange Cassidy and Chris Jericho. Now, as you know, 4 years ago, Jericho hasn't forgotten that Orange Cassidy destroyed his $7,000 jacket that he spilled orange juice all over him during the daily place days. So, however, uh, they've been going back at it back and forth. Now, of course, Jericho was going to have his cronies by his side, Big Bill and Brian Keith, while, of course, Orange Cassidy will have his homies in the conglomeration featuring Mark Briscoe and Kyle O'Reilly. So of course we're going to see much of that. I mean, you know that of course Jericho would do whatever it takes to get a win over him, because I mean Jericho has been embarrassed long enough to lose to Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy, he has the will and determination, because he knows what Jericho would think of him. He'd think of him that he's a lazy bum, a scumbag. That's what he would think of him. But Orange Cassidy, he refuses to stay down no matter what. But of course, when things got a little hectic, we did see Big Bill get involved and O'Reilly try to deal with him. And then, of course, Brian Keith showed up, not long enough until he tossed a roll of coins into Jericho. But he was contempt by Mark Briscoe. But however, Orange Cassidy, on the other hand, he saw that coming. He knew that, of course, Jericho was up to something. So he ducked down and then later catched the roll of coins and used it on his fist and knocked him out right there, getting himself the win. So it all worked out in the end for him. Now, as you all know, we saw what happened at the end of All Out with Bryan Danielson. However, Claudio Castagnoli, Pac, and Moxley, as you know, Wheeler Yuta is 1/3 of the Trios champion with Pac and Claudio. Now, of course, in a way, Wheeler Yuta has an obligation due to the fact that he is a tag champion with these gentlemen. So that kind of puts him in a very, very tight spot. So basically, they're trying to tell him, side with them. Now, Alex Marvez wanted to hear his comments, what he had to say, but of course, we all know that Wheeler Yuta is not in his right mind space. He knows what's going on, but he's trying so hard, but it's not doing well. So we'll see what happens until then. Now, before the next match, we see Roderick Strong making his way to the ring because Hook was in the next match facing a guy named JD Inc. But I can tell you this match ended in Hook's favor when he applied the Red Room, and just like that, it was over. Now, our next two interviews. The first one we have, of course, Alex Marvez talking to Private Party. Now, Private Party are still pissed off after what happened not too long ago. Remember, they were supposed to be in a six-man tag team match with Commander until they were originally attacked by Pac, Claudio, Marina, and of course Moxley. So basically, they want to have a fight against them, but I don't know if that's too smart on their idea. Then, of course, Rene Paquette applied an interview with that idiot Christian Cage. He's saying that he sees himself winning the AEW World Title, but he also envisions Nick winning his own singles title match. And I'm pretty sure he's probably aiming for the TNT title or either the international title. I don't know which one. But of course, later Kip Sabian shows up, and of course, showed up just out of nowhere, just trying to. I don't know what Kip was doing, but Christian decided to go on a temper tantrum. So we'll see what happens until then. Now, our next match is a women's tag team match. We have Serena Deeb and Mariah May versus Queen Aminata and Yuka Sakazaki. Now, of course, Yuka Sakazaki, we haven't seen her for quite some time. We were well aware she was going to make her way to AEW, but she ended up injured. Don't know what she's been doing since then. But it's great to see her back. She did have her first match where she won, and then she ended up in a feud with Mariah May. Queen Aminata, same thing with Serena Deeb. So you would think that this is going to be a very impressive match, but unfortunately, this match ended with a disqualification by Mariah May when she used the AEW Women's Belt on Yuka Sakazaki. But however, Mariah May did not felt like contending with Yuka Sakazaki. She just thinks of her as a bug that needs to be squashed. But however, there is one thing that it is on her mind. Now, as you all know recently, what does Mina think about what's been going on with Mariah May? Now, Mina did mention on an interview that she doesn't know what to say to her. Like, she has been conflicted with what Mariah May did to Toni Storm. She had plans that she wanted to do with both Toni and Mariah, but now it's like things have come to a very delicate situation. Now, Mina did stated that she's a bit afraid what Mariah would think of her or what she'll say to her. But a part of me would think that maybe Mina is a little worried that maybe, just maybe, what if Mariah May does the same thing what she did to Toni Storm? So I feel like that's what's going on. Mina played her mentor as well while she was in Stardom, so that kind of sets it up because don't forget her mentor as well in the States was Toni. But we'll see where that goes to. Now, while Mox and company, Marina and Claudia were making their way to the ring, they were ambushed by Private Party, but it did not do any well. Even Commander tried to help, but apparently Mox used a hammer on Isaiah Cassidy and all this, and then Darby Allin tried to. He had enough of Moxley, realizing that things have changed. Now, Moxley, as you know, he is demanding that Darby Allin hands over the title shot to him. But Darby was not going to do that, knowing too well that he worked real hard in order to do so. But we'll see where that leads us from there. Now, our next match we have Ricochet versus Beast Mortos. Man, that match was good. I loved it. I mean, if you guys ever seen Ricochet, he is really good, and I love his high flying style. But he actually picked up another good win with the Vertigo, and just like that, it was done. Now, we do see an in-ring interview with Tony Schiavone bringing out Hangman Page. However, Hangman Page is still unhinged. Basically, he's saying that he heard people talk about him, especially people who supported Swerve, and he looked to Tony Schiavone because he's trying to tell them, you people forgotten what he did to me. You forgot that this man broke into my house where my wife was asleep, where my child is asleep, and yet you support him. So he feels disgusted that the supporters have to pay for their supportness to Swerve. And of course, Tony Schiavone was a bit more scared. But luckily, Jeff Jarrett showed up, who wants to deal with him now after what's been happening recently. So we'll see what happens. Now, in the backstage area, we did see Will Ospreay and Ricochet, interact. So basically, people are now been declaring that this match is too soon. I've been hearing that with many of my friends recently. When we watched this, they were saying, don't you think it's a little too soon? I mean, it seems like it, but we'll see. But the match between those two will take place on October 2nd. So it's for the International Championship. So we'll see where that goes from there. Now, our next is our main event. We have Will Ospreay, Konosuke Takeshita, and Kyle Fletcher taking on the Elite, featuring the Bucks and Kazuchika Okada. Now, of course, we've seen some interesting moments. Now, remember, Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay have a shot of the AEW Tag Team belts. But Takeshita has one thing on his mind, and that thing is, of course, his hands on on Okada. So basically, it's more like you can see that a bit of their similarities between them, of their backgrounds. So that kind of went in that direction. But however, it seems like there's been tense animosity with Takeshita towards Will Ospreay, because Takeshita probably felt that he should have been the one teaming with Fletcher, but of course it didn't. And then there was a moment where, of course, Ospreay was like front to face with Okada, his old friend, but Takeshita wanted a piece of him, but Will Ospreay told him that just hang tight. So basically, that's what happened. So I don't know. It was very interesting storyline with that, but in the end, it was Kyle Fletcher and Ospreay with the Coriolis, which is the same move that Fletcher and Mark Davis, known as Aussie Open, that they used on Matt Jackson, and Kyle Fletcher was the one who picked up a huge win. But the real question we do ask ourselves is okay, Takeshita and Will Ospreay not on good terms, but we'll see what happens until then. But for now, we can say that they had a good victory. But the Elite, should they be worried, because they normally don't lose matches like this, but it just did. So we'll see what happens until then. But for now, we'll just end things here with AEW and move on with our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So let's begin with upcoming events from the promotions themselves. As always, we start with GCW. Now, as you know, this coming weekend, we have on the 20th of September, we had the Philly show, Aura. It was announced Effie will be in action to take on Greg Excellent. I don't know who that guy is, but wanted to inform you guys. And then, of course, the following day in Hartford, Connecticut, for back-to-back, the GCW World Tag Team titles will be defended. Violence is Forever defends the belts against Miracle Generation. Awesome tag team. I love their style. And then, of course, finally, as you all know, for next month, they will be here in San Diego for the Monster Bash. Tickets are already on sale in case anybody wants to know. But the first match have been announced. We have Super Crazy taking on Speedball Mike Bailey. Yep, that's going to be one hell of a match. Now, I'm still debating if I want to go or not, but I do have a bit of a snack, but I have to make some plans. But I'm going to hold on to that until I come up with something, because I'll let you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. So, we'll see for that. Now, moving on. At the end of this month, Actwres Girls announced for their upcoming event. They didn't say where, but here's a card. If I do have any subscribers who are fans of Actwres Girls, here's what the matches they have. They got Natsuki and Nagisa Shiozuki versus Nanami Togi and Arisa Nagai. Then we have Kyoka Iwa versus Kian Ren. Hopefully I pronounce it right. Riko Lee versus Tomoko Watanabe. Maru and Haruka Ishikawa versus Saihara, Marino, and Naru. We have Mari versus um, Asako Miya, and then finally Ayairi versus Sakura Mizushima. So that's practically for that day. I don't know where the event will take place, but yes. Now, finally, of course, next month we do have on the 13th of October, P.P.P Tokyo has announced for their next upcoming event, Party Soul. Two matches have been announced. We have Draw K versus Rhea. Now, this match was booked right after, of course, Draw K lost a match, and Rhea showed up and basically put her in a match. So we'll see what happens. And then finally, on that particular show for P.P.P Tokyo for Party Soul, Chanyota will be in fact be in action to take on Blanca Maho. I don't know who that person is, but I'll check it out. House of Glory is announced for upcoming event on the 18th of October, and they just announced that the current TNA World Champion Nick Meneth will be making his appearance. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Now, excellent news for all Pro Wrestling Noah fans. Monday Magic is returning for the autumn season, and once again they'll have their events at Shinjuku Face as always. But here are the dates that they announced. We have October 21st, October 28th, November 11th, November 18th, and November 25th. Now we don't know who's going to be appearing. Sometimes they keep a surprise, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Now for some developments. Those who know this, Maki Itoh has been out of action for a while due to injury. Apparently, this is what someone spoke about. Let me pull it up so that I can get a clear view for all of you. Ooh, not bad. Yes. So Maki said that she was so frustrated over the recent injury, she considering quitting wrestling and looked up for jobs at telemarketing. She she reconsidered once she realized that meant someone else would team up with Miyu Yamashita instead of her. So basically, there's that. I mean, I wouldn't blame her if she makes that decision, but of course, it's an uneasy thing. But speaking of that, because of Maki Itoh, another wrestler, I don't know if you guys ever heard of her. I have. I've seen her many of her matches. Dani Jordan. People call her the Mean Girl. Think of her as the high school Mean Girl, that sort of thing. She just recently went on X and spoke about this. Um, this is what she said. Not to bring the vibe down, but I've been considering leaving pro wrestling for the last 3 years. Even after the injury returns, I just don't have that spark anymore. I'm hanging in there, but I stopped having fun a long time ago. I mean, yeah, I get it. Sometimes there are those who make this choice to stop, and I don't blame her. I mean, somebody even commented about that, saying no matter what happens to her, happiness is the number one thing she needs to be, before anything else. And I guess it, because the thing is, if you're not loving what you do, then you have to be happy. Just consider you being happy. So yeah, just find your happiness not elsewhere, but more like try to pursue what makes you happy. That's all I can say. And then finally, of course, Rikishi went on to the Rikishi Off the Rope, his podcast. Um, as you all know, the Rikishi, he is part of the Noah family. They often talk about any other members will be joining the wrestling business. He just mentioned that his daughter, Vaughn, has no interest in joining the wrestling business. And I think many people would think, okay, everybody in that family will definitely jump into the chance, but apparently that's not the case on this one. So yeah, that's how the whole thing is. So his own daughter will not join, and I don't blame her. But people like to presume that. But people should just realize, not a lot of children would want to take up the wrestling business if they love it and have the passion for it. So I get that. But I think that's pretty much what we have for now. But let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you know, we have TNA with Ring of Honor as well. Um, I haven't decided yet, but I do know as we speak we have recently two Stardom events at the on the I forgot the name of the place, but yes, hopefully I get to see those. I'm still a bit behind with Mighty Gold with their day 3 and day 4 of the Dreamstar Grand Prix. There are a few other wrestling shows I haven't seen, but I'll get to those as soon as possible. But also on a friendly reminder for everyone, I want to put this as a heads up, and I'll do it again separately. This coming Saturday, I have been considering that I will not be doing any reviews until then. Reason behind that is because, A, um, of course, this Saturday I will be attending a wrestling event here in San Diego. We have West Coast Pro making their debut, so I'm looking forward to that. But however, the GCW event taking place here on Halloween, I'm still debating. But we'll see what happens. I'll probably make my decision on that possibly after West Coast Pro because I may want to talk to certain people who will be there. Hopefully, just see what happens from there. But for now, we'll just leave things as it is and we'll move forward from there. But until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye and have a nice day. Bang.